Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 13th episode of the Save File Podcast. Here with me is my aria of sorrow, Charbel.
Hey, what's going on?
This is a man I like to call Symphony of the Night. He's Master Amph.
Hey, what up?
And what a wonderful night to have a curse. I'm Simon's Quest, otherwise known as Josh. And yeah, today on the menu, we've got quite a few things to talk about. Actually,
Wait, hold up. I thought you said you were the fucking pachinko machine.
man, I'm Simon's Quest. I have some redeeming value.
At least you're not Metal Gear Solid 3's Pachinko machine.
Everything is pain.
Oh.
Man, it could be worse. Could be Metal Gear Survive.
Oh.
Hey, I heard you want save slots. You gotta pay me, bitch.
That I honestly read that and I thought it was the headline for an Onion article or something like that. I thought it was satire. I'm like, this is a joke.
There's no way someone would be that dumb. No, they did. Alright, and today on the menu we have the shutdown of Emuparadise and how that's a really, really fucking stupid thing to do. What else have we got? We got the Smash stuff that came out. That's pretty awesome.
And some new Red Dead gameplay.
New Red Dead gameplay. And we've got a college story to tell right at the end, just because we promised you guys. Alright,
Yes.
If you want to start us off with Emuparadise shutting down.
Alright. So, essentially what happened was, Emuparadise, the site itself hasn't been shut down. You can still access it, but you can't download ROMs. Like, every single game on there is gone. Like, everything that you can download is gone. You can't get anything from there anymore. So it's completely dead. It's pointless. So essentially, it comes down to the fact that I think the ones who were running Emuparadise, they're scared of I think they're scared or they got striked by Nintendo. I'm not sure, but I know that Nintendo is going on a tirade and shutting down many ROM sites from this moment, beforehand. But yeah, what do you guys think before I start having my personal rants?
Well, I mean, the first thing I would say is we've seen this before. There have been many, piracy sites that get shut down. But the thing that makes me question about whether or not this is the most effective way to go about it is whenever you shut something down, something else is going to pop up. I remember when people were triumphing because they were like, oh yeah, we shut down Pirate Bay. And piracy hasn't stopped. It's still the same way it's always been. There was a Jimquisition episode a few years ago. This is actually one of the episodes that made me start watching Jim Sterling. He did a 3-part series on privacy and he raised a very good point, which is you look at the music and the movie industries. And piracy went down when services like iTunes and Netflix came out because they were providing a better service than the pirates. See, the thing about Emuparadise is the problem with shutting it down is something now is going to take its place.
Yeah.
Piracy is worldwide. It's too widespread. Shutting down one source of it is forgive the Shrek analogy, but it's like peeling off one layer of the onion. There are going to be other layers.
There's always a bigger fish.
That Shrek
Piracy
meme.
are like onions.
The Shrek meme. I agree on that point. But also another point. Emulation doesn't hurt the game industry. Especially and I'm talking mainly about PS2 backwards. Because you're not...
Yeah.
The companies that made it are no longer... let's not get under any delusion. The companies that made those games are never going to make money off those games again.
Yeah.
Unless they are remastered or re-released on the PlayStation Store, actually, and in which case, go buy it on those stores. I always do that. If I have the option to play it on a console legitimately, I will try. But there's a lot of old games, very old games, that simply you can't buy them anymore. You can't buy them cheaply. A lot of them are very, very expensive. A lot of them didn't even release in... Especially places like Australia, a lot of games didn't even fucking release here.
Yeah.
That we want to play. You're not actually stopping people from pirating new games. Or pirating games where the company or that are going to lose money. It's not what you're stopping. You're actually degrading the preservation of games in general. Like those old games from the 1980s, from the 1990s, you're not earning anything off those anymore. And if people want to go back and play them, they should be able to.
They have, I guess they have the right to experience at least the past and all that. Like, when it comes to like games, like you know how you said that they re-releasing stuff and like they're getting people to like get it from like the stores. So like you got the virtual console, you've got the PS2 classics, PS1 classics, and all that.
Yeah.
That's all well and fine because they're more accessible than anything. But what I find the problem with this sort of thing is, they normally get games that are, I guess, mostly of the mainstream. Like, if you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Like they don't get games like that. Games that people wouldn't even think of getting on the SNES or the PS1, the PS2, or I guess the GBA, Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, like there are a lot of games that are more obscure that maybe people want to go back and play and they just simply can't. Another thing I'm going to say is emulation has done good things as well. Let's not be under the impression that emulation is purely piracy and it's evil. Like, if you want to look at it as, it doesn't help the game industry, like, you can go and buy legitimate copies if you try hard enough. The gaming industry, like, do you know how many games never released in English that got fan translations and that have fan bases in English-speaking countries because of emulation?
Yeah, like Mother 3 is a good example.
Yeah, I was going to say Mother 3. If not for emulation, no one in the States, no one in Australia, no one in Europe would ever have gotten to play that game.
No.
And it is a game worth playing.
Yeah, I also have a story, right? So, about a year ago, I was cleaning out my room and I found my old Game Boy Color, right?
Yeah.
Now, I had one of the Game Boy Colors that, it was sort of like that what's the word?
Translucent?
That translucent, like, purplish color.
Those were awesome.
And, like, yeah, that was my one. And the game that I played more than anything on my Game Boy Color, I'm sure I've mentioned it at least once on the podcast, was Pokemon Yellow, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, recently, I got my phone repaired, but before that, when I found my Game Boy Color, I said, you know what, screw this, I want to play Pokemon Yellow. So I flicked on my Game Boy, played it for a bit, saved my game, and then when I came to play it next, the save was corrupted.
Yeah.
And I looked it up, and I was like, oh, that's why. It's because the battery-operated save wouldn't work anymore because the battery was so degraded. After that, I said, you know what? Fuck it. I downloaded an emulator onto my phone, right? I have a Galaxy S8 Plus. And is it wrong that I downloaded Pokemon Yellow to that? I already owned the game. It's not my fault that the cartridge was made out of a degradable material.
In legal terms, I'm pretty sure, and don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure, if you own the game and you have purchased it legitimately, you're allowed to have the ROM.
Yeah.
I think you're actually allowed to, because I think it's some sort of like, you're allowed to have a backup of it, or you're allowed to do what you want with that product. But another thing is, that's another thing about the preservation of things. Most Game Boy games with battery saves don't work anymore.
No.
Like, I've tested them myself. I've gone back and tried to play my old copies of Red, Blue, Yellow, Gold, and Silver. None of their save systems work anymore.
And the Game Boy Advance, I think they improved like the battery by then, but there's still like an internal clock that runs dry.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, why? My thing is like, okay, yes, I've downloaded the ROM for it, but is it wrong that I did that? I honestly don't think it is, because I already own the game. It's not my fault. Like, when you purchase a game, that's yours forever. So if Nintendo make a product that at the time was perfectly reasonable, but now obviously we know, hey, these batteries won't last forever, this save is going to falter at some point, what do we do after that? You know?
But still...
And bear in mind, sorry to cut you off, Nick, but bear in mind, this is assuming that the closing of Emuparadise is going to hurt piracy, but I think that we're all in agreement in saying...
You haven't.
There are going to be other ways.
Even people who are in complete support of this understand that when you shut down, trying to stop piracy this way is like fighting the Hydra. You cut one head, you're gonna make two more.
Yeah.
For every time that you
Yeah.
cut down one of these big websites, people are going to create torrents, re-upload the ROMs to other places to download them and share them around. It's not going to stop it. You might create actually another renaissance of old ROM playing. Like, we don't know. And your original point of, if you create a service which is better than what the pirates can offer, which, to be fair, you can do. You have the virtual consoles.
Yeah.
You have re-releases, and they work. And they're on the consoles that people play, and people like playing games on their consoles. It feels good.
Yeah. Like, I mean, we've spoken, mainly me and you, Josh, about how much we love the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
If Nintendo had a server similar to Xbox Game Pass that would allow me to go back and play older Nintendo games, look, it's rare that I can say this, but I think a lot of people would jump on that fucking idea.
Oh, I would love that. Are you kidding me?
How many people wouldn't mind that? And, I mean, Xbox Game Pass as well. I actually do like that service. I wish PlayStation had a service like that actually let you download the games rather than stream them. But
No, I would love it if Nintendo just
like it's there. We can do it. We have that tech now.
Yeah, emulation itself. When I first got it off a friend back in, sorry to
Oh, it's alright. Tell your story.
Yeah, as I was saying, a friend back in high school gave me a USB full of Game Boy games, like Game Boy Advance, Game Boy, and Game Boy.
The good old emulation
The good
USB.
old, yeah, Visual Boy Advance, so to speak. If I hadn't have gone that, I wouldn't have never have gone into JRPGs as a whole. I would have remained I guess below a casual gamer if I hadn't have actually gone in those emulators, because they introduced me to one of my favorite franchises of all time, which was the Tales series, because I played the first Tales game ever in existence, which was Tales of Fantasia.
That's an immense start, Jesus.
Yeah, and eventually I got I never finished the Game Boy Advance version. I eventually got the not released in America version, which was the PS1 version or PSX. Yeah, I got that translated and everything, and yeah, I had a blast. Such a great game. But yeah, if it wasn't for that, then I wouldn't have never have gone into one of my favorite genres in gaming.
If I'm gonna be honest here, if emulation wasn't a huge part of my childhood, because that's a lot of what I did, I would never have gotten into ROM hacking, and I probably wouldn't have gotten into game design like I did. Honestly, making those Pokemon ROM hacks, making those Super Mario ROM hacks, that was some of the funnest times of the things I used to do when I was a kid, and that's what really made me want to make games.
Yeah, there's people out there saying that yeah, this game preservation isn't a thing.
Yeah, those people are dumb.
Games don't die. Games can't be lost forever. And I say to these people, fuck you.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. And fuck you. Game preservation is a thing. We are losing games. If they don't get put onto ROMs, you lose them, because eventually those cartridges just won't work anymore.
Yeah.
Seriously.
You guys are entirely right on this.
Games do disappear because we can't access them anymore. Look at Scott Pilgrim versus the World of the Game. We have no way to play that unless you get a PS3 that happens to have the game on it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what pisses me off more. That's a game that I didn't find out about it until it had already gone. So I never got the opportunity, and I never will have the opportunity to play that game. And it was a good fucking game. And
I
that's
heard very
what
good
pisses
things
me
about
off.
it.
It's also, we're getting to a point now where we can't emulate things reliably. You can't emulate a Switch. You can't emulate the Wii U. You can't emulate bloody PS4 properly. And the people who can emulate the more modern consoles, that's a fucking endeavor. It's difficult.
Yeah, I guess the spec recommendation just to run the damn thing is probably ridiculous.
Yeah, it's not the same. And I saw Amp shared like a tweet or something I could see where they were saying that the piracy is hurting the indie market.
Oh,
You are hitting
fuck
the
that
wrong
guy.
fucking targets if you want to help the indie market.
Mm.
The problem with the indie market is an Emuparadise.
Yeah, no, that's you're right on.
I can't
there.
go to Emuparadise and download Undertale. Like, fucking, the indie market is suffering from piracy. Yeah, they have a problem, but it's not emulation that's killing them.
Like seriously, this whole thing is just it's frustrating me because like emulation is even though it's kind of like a side of piracy, it's a huge part of gaming. Like,
Yeah, it is. It's a bit of the culture, and it's weird because it's weird in the fact that it's both piracy and an important part of the culture.
yeah,
Oh yeah, that's a dick
oh
move.
yeah, oh yeah.
Fuck's sake.
Good game.
Pokemon Yellow.
Yeah.
I love that one, but Pokemon Yellow. Like, think about all the steps now I have to go through to play that game. You know, it's legitimately. Is it even worth it? I've got to from everything. I've got to start off. I need to make sure I have a working Game Boy Color. Luckily, mine did because I didn't break it in half. Then I've got to make sure my cartridge works. On top of that, the battery save has to work. And like we said, I mean, it's a long time and they degrade. Like, that happens. It's a normal thing.
Not just that, with Pokemon games, you know how they only take one save, right? With emulation,
Yeah.
you can just copy and paste it, rename it, and there you go. There's your
Yeah,
second
that was
save
one of my
for
favorite
Pokemon.
things with save states,
Yeah.
being able to have multiple. Another thing is, Nintendo released fucking Pokemon Yellow, Blue, and Red, and Silver, Gold, and Crystal onto the 3DS store, and those sold fucking like mad.
Yeah, like hotcakes.
Yeah, like they were released in untouched. They were released like an emulated Game Boy Color game. All the glitches were intact. They didn't fix fucking anything, and those games are broken. And people still
Yeah.
bought the fuck out of them.
It's
So
a
if
very special part of many people.
yeah, so if you offer a good service, and emulation proves that old games still have a market, fucking do it. For instance, I found out the other day that Rayman 3 is on the PC. I bought it because I wanted to play Rayman 3. I could have emulated it. I could have, but I didn't.
Yeah, no, look, let's be real here. There are going to be people that will emulate and will pirate just because, yeah, you know how it
Yeah,
is.
because they emulate and pirate.
But in the cases we've put forward, I don't see anything wrong with emulating an old game that you already own. Because let's say I did go off and buy another cartridge. You know, Nintendo and Game Freak aren't going to get any money from that. Nothing will happen. Like, what do they lose by me emulating Pokemon Yellow?
Pretty much nothing.
There you go.
If they were to like expand this whole like services, I reckon what Nintendo should do is I guess they're right to like putting on the mainstream games on there, but also try to support like I guess the other games as well. Like you got some good classics on the SNES. Like you don't just have like I guess like Super Mario World or Link to the Past and all them. You have like good games like that I can list that not many people have played. Like you've got Terranigma that never came to like America.
That's
Us
a good
Australians got
damn
it.
game.
Oh yeah, it's a really good, damn good game. There's, I guess, like, well, I can't say Chrono Trigger because that's like that's different. That's all over now. Well, there's also like there's like, as I was saying, like you've got Terranigma. We've got like Lufia 2. Like Lufia 2 is like a really good RPG that never got much attention, which I think should. And then there's like, well, what else can I think of? There's... Fuck, that's all I can think
Yeah, but
of.
you
Josh,
get
help
the
me.
point. But what
Yeah.
we're really saying is, Nintendo, please release Mother 3 in English, and we'll stop complaining.
Yeah, just release Mother 3. Please do.
Release our sweet meme game, please.
Oh, please. I want Mother 3.
Now, Charbel, here's some news where you're going to go ballistic. Tell us about Red Dead.
Okay, here we go. So, Rockstar released a gameplay video. It goes for about 6 minutes, and it really is just an introduction to the gameplay and the world of Red Dead Redemption 2. Now, I have never been this excited for a game, and I was so happy watching it that I had my game paid off now for a couple months, and I've just been I was just stunned. This is obviously Rockstar's first proper game this generation. Obviously, GTA 5 was re-released on the PS4 and the Xbox One, and then eventually on PC. But this is the first time where from the ground up it's being built with these systems in mind. And the attention to detail just looks amazing. The writing in the game, judging by the dialogue, it honestly takes me back to the first time I played Red Dead Redemption. And Rockstar are just amazing at creating a living, breathing world. You know, there are very few games that, I should say very few studios that can build a world like Rockstar. Honestly, this is probably the most anticipated game I've ever had. The only other game I can think of that I'm really looking forward to as much as this is Smash Brothers, but that's mainly because this will be my first proper Smash experience. Whereas with Red Dead, it's just I'm pumped because it's another Red Dead game, and it just looks phenomenal. They've shown off everything from the updated shooting mechanics to the story, talked about the gameplay. They even went over the bond you can have with your horse and how certain horses will be better for certain things. Like, it's just phenomenal. I honestly can't wait. Plus, John Marston's coming back. I don't think anyone is going to be mad at that. I don't know. I personally, I can't wait. I can't wait for the release. What do you boys think?
It's honestly, I am looking forward to Red Dead 2 I enjoyed Red Dead 1. I remember all the glitches that I found. It was interesting as an experience. And, of course, my partner really loves Red Dead. It's going to be good. It looks good. It looks good so far. I have no complaints.
I have to play the first Red Dead. I really do.
Charbel's about to go high noon on a month.
But no, like when I watched that trailer for the second game, dude, like the visuals, like past the gameplay, like the visuals, the whole aesthetic of like the Wild West, it really does shine in Red Dead. Like one and two, like I can't wait to see how Red Dead 2 will like actually turn out once you like get to play it. Like, yeah, you really have to tell me about it, Shams, when it comes out.
No one's going to hear from me for at least 2 weeks.
That's understandable.
It's gonna be two episodes
I
it's
will-
not on.
Seriously, I cannot wait for this game. I was watching the trailer and there's a scene where Arthur is on a mountain, and he's just sort of scans the land, and he just captures the openness and the emptiness of like the Wild West, and it's just perfect, you know. And that's something that Red Dead brought to the table that GTA didn't. You know, in GTA, for example, GTA 4. You felt like GTA 4 was set in Liberty City, which is obviously a fictionalized New York City, but you never feel like you're away from something. Red Dead 1, you know, you ride in an armadillo, and yeah, you're in between towns. In fact, you're in between countries in Red Dead 1, but you never feel like, oh yeah, you know, I'll just ride here for 5 minutes and I'll come on like a capital town, you know? Like, every location felt different. You know, traveling between them was amazing because you never knew what you'd run into. Would there be treasure? Would there be bandits? it was just amazing. And I honestly think Red Dead in a lot of ways is better than every GTA, and that's something that is controversial. But I think it just does so many things well. And look, to be honest, one of the reasons I was like not worried or iffy, but one of the reasons I was so interested, I guess, is because this will be the first time Rockstar releases a game without Leslie Benzies at the helm. I'm sure you guys remember when he left Rockstar. It was a pretty controversial thing. And Les was pretty much the heart and soul of GTA. He was from memory, I think it was the lead designer of the games as well, and it was the game director, I think. And he's working on his own game. Obviously, it's called Anywhere. Not much has been said about it, but I'm looking forward to see what he does. But at the same time, I'm looking forward to see how Rockstar not only handle another Red Dead, but handle a game without such a key member of their team. I honestly can't imagine what it's going to be like when I play this. Although, please, for the love of God, Rockstar, don't have a massive day one patch. Us Australians would love to play that game.
It'd be nice to be able to play it on day one.
Oh yeah.
So, it always is a concern when like the person who really drove the series leaves. Like it's always a worry. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. Like we see that with Metal Gear Survive.
Also, thanks, Shabs. Since I'm already done with Eternal Sonata, like I guess 2 nights ago, I'm really tempted to play Red Dead right now.
Do it.
I'll have to give your thoughts on Eternal Sonata sometime.
Oh yeah, that'll be soon. I have a lot of thoughts.
Hold on, if you could sum it up in 2 words, go.
Shit.
That's one word.
Just kidding. No, that's not.
That's one word.
It's not bad, I guess. I guess that's my 2 words. It's not bad.
It's not bad, I guess.
But it's not good either.
No, it's a wonderful thing to find a game franchise you can love wholeheartedly and just be excited for.
No, you know what? I think the thing about Red Dead is one of the best moments in gaming. So I've mentioned that one of the levels I love in games is the festival level from Super Mario Odyssey.
Yeah.
And it's because you feel really involved. You're like, oh shit, there's a festival going on. We're celebrating.
Like, yeah, I love it.
You have Jump Up Superstar in the background. It's like a fun. It's like a funny day out with your mates. It's got that sense to it. On the other end of the spectrum, playing Red Dead, and you'd remember this, Josh, but when you first ride into Mexico, that has got to be one of the loneliest moments in gaming. You're playing as John Marston. You're in an you're not even in the same country. You're in an unfamiliar land, and that I think the artist's name is Jose Gonzalez. That song starts playing, and you legit just feel like you feel amazing.
Red Dead. I've got to admit,
you feel
Red Dead's
determined.
Although not always executed the best, is incredible most of the time. Like a majority of the time playing Red Dead, you can really feel what they wanted you to feel. But every scene really hits it.
From the little bits that I've played, it's certainly very atmospheric.
Yeah.
Impressively atmospheric.
It's a legitimately good game. It's something that you could recommend to nearly everyone.
Also, that game had one of the best ways of telling you what the cheats were I think I've seen in a game. Where, I don't know if you guys remember, but if you were, sometimes you would see writing etched on the walls, and those were actually cheats.
Oh, that's amazing. I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you look it up, there are parts of the world where, you might walk by a building and it'll have something like, I think one of them was "My son, my blessed son," and that lets you play as Jack from the start when you type it in. And being the smartasses they are, they put it in Armadillo, which is the first main town, from memory. So you could almost skip the rest of the game and jump straight to playing as Jack.
Yeah, best part of Armadillo. If you kill everyone in Armadillo, the game doesn't know what to do and puts you near the final mission.
See, here's the thing. Even though Red Dead had even though Red Dead had a lot of issues, especially at launch, it is such a good game
Oh
worth
yeah,
playing.
it's definitely still worth playing, and it's got a zombie DLC. I just want.
And it was executed
Yeah, it was
fantastically.
actually really well done. I just wanted to remember it.
Oh man, Undead Nightmare is. If you like, the funny thing is, when I first heard, oh yeah, there's a zombie DLC for Red Dead Redemption, I'm like, this is one of the saddest, most serious games I've ever played. Who said let's add zombies?
Someone at Rockstar was like,
whoever that is, shake their hand, give them a promotion, and ask what drugs they're
It
on.
sounds like someone from the marketing team was like, zombie games are selling really well. You should make zombies in Red Dead. And one of the designers was like, oh, I'll give you zombies.
But let's be honest, Under Nightmare was just great.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It was just fucking
Right.
great.
I'm just gonna have to. I want to bring this up because there's something we probably should address, but I'm not gonna dwell on it, and I'm probably not gonna get too many. We're not gonna talk about it. The streamer Ninja put out a statement saying he doesn't stream with women out of respect for his wife and not receiving harassment, because he doesn't want to deal with the drama.
Yeah.
As far as I know, it doesn't seem like it comes from a place of discrimination. It doesn't seem like it comes from any kind of like sexist remarks or any kind of hatred. It seems to be legitimately that he wants to keep the harassment, and he wants to keep the general like gossip about himself pretty clean, which I can respect to a degree.
It sounds like he's a person who
I mean,
definitely-
Oh, sorry, you go ahead.
Sorry. Oh no, like he definitely sounds like the type of person that respects his wife, and I
No.
can't take that away from him.
No, I can't take away the reasons, and I can't deny the fact that he might actually be correct in how people might react to those kinds of things. It wouldn't personally stop me from doing it, but if it's his decision, it's his decision. I don't think it matters too much.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I can't blame him, and the reason I say that is because, look, if Ninja was to stream with another female streamer, and they did it a few times, there's going to be people in the comments that say things like, are they together, and things like that, and I sort of don't blame him, because we know how the internet can be. I mean, it's an unfortunate thing to say, but I mean, let's be honest here. We know what some people on the internet can be like. And if the decision he made to not stream is him like out of respect for his wife, if that's something that makes him and his wife happy, then I don't see that as a problem.
Yeah, like I've seen so much as like, that's legitimately one of the only reasons that I could legitimately respect for that decision. Like he really found like the only legitimate reason.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If he came out and said something like, "I don't want to play with girls because I want to keep my KD high and they'll slow me down," all right, that's
fucked.
That's not how you. Yeah, I wouldn't say that, Ninja.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, if it was legitimately any other reason of excluding them on purpose, it'd be really fucked up. But the reason that he provided is actually legitimately concerning.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can't fault him for his
I can't fault him for it.
And you're definitely right about that, Charbel. Like, when it comes to like the internet, and because he's like a big YouTuber, of course, like, I guess the media will try to get like a scoop on him to see if he was having an affair or some shit like that.
Yeah, that's the thing. We see this all the time. We see this react all the time, especially with streamers. There's so much weird shit going on over in that community. But,
oh yeah.
No, but it's not even media. Like, if say 1,000 people, look, how many people does Ninja have subscribed to him on Twitch roughly?
Oh
do you know?
God, I wouldn't know. It's got to be fucking a lot, because this is the guy who did it with Drake.
Yeah, I know. I mean, let's say he's got 100,000 people following him. Let's say out of that 100,000 people, 1,000 of them start putting hashtags on Twitter saying Ninja having an affair or some shit. I know, it sounds ridiculous, but
it happens a lot in the celebrity world.
Not even in the celebrity world. This just happens in media. Like, I was watching the Dudesons on YouTube, and one of them, I don't know if you guys ever watched the Dudesons growing up. I found them fucking hilarious, but one of them started making videos with another YouTuber named Chachi Gonzalez, and after a couple videos, everyone's like, "Oh wow, they have to be dating. They've been doing so many videos together." And even though they eventually came out and said, "Yeah, we're dating, we're together," it's no one's business, you know. And there are people that want to keep that stuff private. I can't blame Ninja for what he's doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we lowballed that because there's like well over 1 million.
Yeah.
Like, look, what we're saying is that wouldn't personally. I think I can say this for us is like that wouldn't personally stop us if we were in his situation. I don't think that would concern us. But I can understand where he's coming from. But that's all we're gonna give on that.
So
Now, while we're on the topic of news that's happened since we last recorded, last week we talked on the IGN editor who plagiarized Boomstick Gaming.
Yeah.
Who was accused of plagiarism.
yeah.
So, a quick update on that. He actually has been, we'll say, let go from IGN.
Terminated.
Yeah.
Gonski.
And he uploaded an apology. Personally, I felt it was a bit half-hearted watching it, but I mean, look, maybe that's just me. Maybe you guys thought something different if you have seen it. But I want to say congrats to IGN. Ever since they've realized what happened, they took both the reviews down. They let go of the person who was accused of plagiarism. And then they also discussed compensation with Boomstick for the review itself, which credit to them. I think they've handled it really well.
That is honestly one of the best ways they could have handled that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be honest, they really did a good job of handling that.
And also, I started watching some of Boomstick stuff. He's actually not that bad.
Yeah, no, I'm glad that this thing has brought more traffic to someone who legitimately does good work.
Yeah, no, good on him. He does much better work than us three. So
That's fine. Oh, self-deprecation.
Yeah. I didn't know. I didn't know
100%.
about that. He made a. I never seen the video of like his apology, but I know about it through like a couple of videos, like coverages about it, and yeah, from what they've said, it's definitely half-hearted. Like I think he was doing some obvious like, how should I put it? Obvious liar traits to his like, I guess, apology video. Like he wasn't.
It didn't seem genuine. It seemed like he was apologizing because he got caught.
Yeah, like apparently he also didn't even like say that he actually did steal stuff from Boomstick Gaming. Like he didn't admit it to it at all. Like I mean, why would he? Because I mean, it'd be right to like admit it, but I guess if it was, I guess it just comes down to like, yeah, he's just being a coward.
Yeah. But no, we're good. IGN, well fucking done. Fucking done.
Well done, IGN.
Absolutely.
Speaking of news,
Now,
we were right in our little Smash
Smash?
predictions.
Yes.
Simon Belmont, Richter Belmont, and King K. Rool are 3 newly announced Smash fucking fighters. And that
I
is
forgot the last announcement.
so
Luigi
awesome.
died.
Huh?
It sounds like everyone other than the kitchen sink has been
Yeah,
announced.
that's so good. Crom got announced, and me and Anth are pretty excited about that.
Oh yeah, Crom.
I wanted Crom and I wanted to play Crom in fucking Smash Brothers Wii U, but no.
The day
Now I
finally
can.
arrived for him. The day finally arrived.
You did it, Crom. You did it. No,
You
I'm
forgot
glad.
You forgot one more announcement.
Oh yeah, Luigi's fucking dead.
Yeah, he fucking rip.
Like Ridley could have like severely injured Mario and Mega Man, but like they fucking killed Luigi just like that.
Okay, so I didn't actually see the announcement. What?
Yeah, Death just comes out of nowhere, rips Luigi's soul out of him.
Okay, so they're announcing Simon Belmont, right? And they're in the Castlevania stage. And you know Castlevania, it's got some pretty horrific fucking elements. So he's fighting mummies, and they're not working with his Luigi tactic of flashing his... And then he runs into Death himself, and Death himself cuts Luigi, and his spirit leaves his body. And then Simon Belmont shows up.
they killed off.
They
Luigi.
murdered him on screen. That was... What are they doing? Sakurai!
No, you know what they should have done? It's like Luigi gets injured and then someone puts, like, as he's down on one knee recovering from his wound, a hand just taps him on the shoulder. He looks up and it's Waluigi.
It's fucking Waluigi.
I'm waiting for a Waluigi announcement. After all this, it's gotta be there.
Just imagine. I reckon he's not going to put it in. People are saying, like, in the direct there was chairs behind Sakurai that were yellow and purple. It's like the Waluigi and Wario colors. And I just love I think I saw a meme once of just like, you've asked for him too much, so I've killed Waluigi and turned him into 2 chairs.
People ask for Waluigi, right?
Yeah.
There's people now asking for Ashley.
Yeah, no, they think she got robbed. Dude, Zero showed up and I got excited, and then he was an assist trophy and I got sad.
Oh.
But I've got to admit, Smash is looking so fucking cool. I love the new Smash mode. They have like a more kind of Street Fighter system with the final smashes that you can opt into, where it like builds up a meter over time, and you can unleash like a small version of it.
Oh yeah, that's so cool.
Oh, is this like the normal Smash, or is this just for that mode?
Just for that mode. So this is something you can opt into.
Oh yeah, sure.
This is something I'm probably going to.
Yeah, that sounds
into.
really cool.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds like Final Smashes are gonna at least appear more like competitively viable. Because before they were just so unbalanced and so ridiculous that competitive people didn't like it because it added a random element. But now it looks like a way more controlled and more precise thing. Like they gave examples of like normal ones that are like screen clearing, like PK Starstorm from Lucas, except it just does it like right on top of him. So it's like a really small version of it. Which is really cool. You get to pick the rules before you pick the characters. And you get to pick the rules, the stage, then the characters. Which I think is interesting.
Yeah.
They kept they kept one mode hidden though. It was like censored and stuff.
Yeah, no, right at the end. I'm about it single player.
It has to be single player.
I
it
hope
has
it's
to be a
Smash
story
Run,
mode.
honestly. It reminded me so much of Kirby Super All-Star Air Ride. That's it. Kirby Air Ride.
Yeah.
Like,
I want it to be another Subspace and Misery.
I wish. There's so many bosses. Like, there are like fucking 5 Castlevania bosses in the game. You've got Death. You've got Dracula. You've got Camellia. They can just fucking show up.
Oh yeah. Like,
Frankenstein's there.
But you know who we don't have? Waluigi.
Charbel, are you just doing it for the memes at this point?
Yes, I am.
oh yeah.
Seriously, the amount of what? First, I want to know what's your problem with this, because the moment Smash got announced, actually after E3, I remember you sent nothing but Waluigi memes to us for about 2 days, Josh.
I love the
true.
Waluigi meme culture. I love it so fucking much. But they
No, my favorite is there's one where it's like Waluigi. You sent this. It's Waluigi sitting in a dark room. He like opens the curtains and it says everyone is here, and he just closes the curtains.
Yeah, I like that one. I personally like the one where it's he's Goku versus Perfect Cell, and Perfect Cell is Sans, and he's just like, I'm sorry, Wario, it's the only way I could prevent him from being in Smash. I love that one.
Oh yeah, Shabs. Remember how I was saying? Like, I think weren't you about to say something then? I was sorry about that. Like, I must have talked over you then.
No, I can't remember.
Okay, it was a while back. Like, I was just waiting to say like,
Look, I'm still into it. If they put Waluigi out, my main is going to be Waluigi. My main is currently Richter Belmont because he's my boy.
Oh.
Fucking Rondo of Blood. Alucard is a fucking assist trophy. That's cool. Such a good game. Such a good game. I like Grand Cross. That's a cool Final Smash. It's cool looking. He basically puts you into a coffin and shines the light of God on you.
And you can fight motherfucking Dracula. Oh, sorry, Sean.
You know what? I was gonna say I don't know who my main would be, because normally in games I love playing just big tanky characters. I feel like that's not really a good thing to do in Smash.
No, Bowser and King K. Bowser has tended to be lower on the tier list. King K. Rool is there, and he actually looks really good. Like, he has a counter, that's pretty fun. He pulls out a fucking musket and shoots you. His final smash is he goes to his fucking giant laser cannon and blows up the stage.
Which was like the game over screen of Donkey Kong 64.
Yeah, I love that.
I remember in PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale, they had 3, I guess would be final smashes. They're just finishes, but the third one, I guess we'll call it the final smash. Hey, Hachi's one would literally send 3. He'd tie the other 3 competitors to a rocket ship and send them to the moon.
Isn't that like a nod to one of the Tekken endings?
Yeah, it's a nod to, I think, one of the endings in Tekken. I think it's either Tekken 4 or 5. It's Lee's ending. From memory, and he like rocket shoots people over. Some people have absolutely bullshit final smashes in PS All Stars. I'm gonna keep calling them final smashes. I think my favorite would have to be... Actually, Ratchet and Clank have a pretty cool one. Ratchet just hops in his ship and wrecks havoc. It's fucking...
Parappa the Rapper.
He literally brought... Oh, Parappa the Rapper, fucking hell. The funniest was one of my mates used to main Sackboy. And Sackboy literally... he used to like put everyone in a little bubble, and if he pops you, he kills you.
Oh, Jesus.
So I used to just float to the top of the fucking stage because he can't reach you there unless there's platforms.
I
I
forgot to
gotta
ask
admit,
about
I'm
this
surprised
last
Hachi doesn't just drop you into a fucking volcano.
Oh my god, that would have been the best.
Just picks you up.
Yeah, you have to press triangle and circle to drop them.
I forgot to ask you about this last week when you mentioned PlayStation All Stars. You know how you say we can play as Parappa the Rapper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, every time he attacks, does he go punch, kick, chop?
I actually think he has moves that do that, but he doesn't do it every time. But you only unlock him if you believe. Sorry, I had to do it.
God damn it. Alright, Charbel. We're getting near the end, and we did promise a story. So tell us how Amph ruined one of your projects.
Oh my fucking... Alright, so... for those who don't know, I did defer 1 year of my studies. So when I came back, I was with these 2 idiots.
Hey!
And the first subject when we came back was about psychology and economies in video games. I guess the easiest way to describe an economy would be, I guess, anything with a transaction. So it could be like skill points for an upgrade, or money, or like you picture like a shop in games. Those are all economies. Even things like health systems are economies. But for our assessment, we had to be able to also iterate on these, which means we sort of had to take on like proper feedback, and we had to make changes based on said feedback. Now, I had a bunch of people test out a little racing sim that I made, right? So testing out this little prototype and all that, and it's fucking going great. Everyone's loving it. These idiots start competing with it, and I'm like, man. So the way it calculated things was based on the corner and like how tight the corner was. That would determine what stats you would need to get around the corner successfully. If you got around the corner successfully, it knocked a second off your time. For every stat that didn't meet the requirements, you had an extra second onto the time per stat. Now, when everyone tested it, I didn't tell them what they would need to get around the corner, because I'm looking at a racetrack here, and you'd be like, okay, well, this corner's pretty tight, so I'm going to need some decent handling and some decent acceleration to get out of that corner really quick. Oh, hey, this corner leads into a straight, so to get to the next corner quick, I might want a slightly higher top speed as well as some nice acceleration. Amph, who doesn't play racing games, tested this prototype. And he turns to me after completely failing at this prototype, and he says, you know what, man? You should have told me what like stats I need to beat each corner. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like, but it was the only feedback I had been given where someone's saying change it, because so many people were coming up to me saying, oh, wow, you made something awesome. And I'm sitting there going, no, give me something to change.
No, shit, make me do it.
Yeah, and I'm like, you know what, fine, fuck it. That's the one thing that, I got told to change. So I changed that, and it also changed the amount of upgrade points that people got to spend on their cars before the race. And so the time comes when it's getting assessed, and one of our teachers, Krista, he comes and he sits down and he's like, he's testing it, he's going through it, and he goes, "Oh, you made a really cool prototype here." I'm like, "Oh, thanks," and he goes, "The only thing I would say is you shouldn't have told me the stats that I needed to beat the track."
Perfect
And I'm like,
impression.
I turn to Anf, and Anf is looking at me with like fear in his eyes. Like, you'd think like Cerberus rose from hell, the way he had like fear. And like, I look at him like, yeah, I agree, Krista. That would make it better. And Anf just like puts his headphones in and goes back to work.
I'm
Really
cackling
quickly.
At this point. That was
Really
hilarious.
quickly.
Yeah, just fucking literally. Josh is like sitting next to Anf, just laughing his ass off.
It was the funniest.
Because he knows that, like, obviously how it was. He tested it as well before I made the change. And he's like, God damn it.
Oh, dude, in those
He's
eyes,
like, so you were right,
in
Charles.
those eyes, I saw some killing intent. I just fucking, like, put my headphones back in, put some music back on, and went back to my economies. Like, my economical work. So, I was shitting myself. I was going, oh, fuck. I'm sorry.
It was really funny.
Yeah.
Anf, I should have said meet me at 2:45 at Scabs.
Better catch them hands, boy.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, that's an inside joke because of Anf's high school. That's apparently where people went to punch on.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking God.
They kept going to the punch on, so the teachers caught on, like, instantly.
I can't imagine how.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you just this story because it's the funniest thing ever. Was fuck you 69.
Oh, yes.
We had a
Oh,
project
yes,
where we
this
had
story.
to pitch a concept like of we essentially got a brief of a company that wanted the game made for them, and we picked the Museum of History that was doing World War One. And so we're like, yeah, we can make like a World War One like style game. We'll make it like a top-down shooter like that documents like trench warfare, and we really based it on like the original concept was like you would go through and it was really about being in the trenches. So you would go in, you'd find diary entries and that. And we made this fun little pitch, and it came time. We went up in front of like 50 people, and we put in the USB, and right before we put in the USB, goes, "Oh wait, what's wrong?" We put it in up on the projector. It just says "fuck you 69."
And the funny thing was, we were presenting in front of a new teacher at that time. This is like his first week in this class.
Oh, poor Anthony.
Oh.
Talk about making a great first impression. F. You put in a USB, and he didn't. Bear in mind, he obviously knew what this USB's name was because he put the work on the USB. He put the presentation on the USB, so he knew what it was, and he felt the need to tell no one in this group that the USB may have a name that should not really be on display.
Our fucking teacher just turned around and looked at us like, what the fuck?
And we all looked at Anf like, what the fuck?
And his only response was, guys, I was 12 once. Oh my fucking god. But that was
Funny.
really
Funny because that wasn't the first time that's happened.
Yeah,
I gave it to my my IST teacher back in high school.
God.
And he looked at me and said,
So not only was this a stupid mistake, but you've also made it twice.
You've forgotten history.
my IST teacher looked at me and said, Anthony, I recommend you change the name for this USB. So, what I did was I got the USB, I put it in my old PS2 pencil case, never to be seen again. And after like years later, I forgot about that USB, and it came back to haunt me and bite me in the ass. To that
I gotta
very day.
admit, that presentation went to shit so quickly.
Oh yeah.
Pictures didn't load, so all the diagrams I didn't show up, and I just had to talk out of my ass while someone
jumped
ran
up and
over
down.
and grabbed a laptop to show them the diagram.
I had to jump up and
No,
down.
but my favourite thing was Josh misspelt rifle somehow.
Oh yeah, I misspelt it. I did riffle. I'm dyslexic, alright? Give me a break.
I think after that, I didn't even know you were dyslexic until that moment. And I'm looking at the USB and I'm like, I really hope no one else notices the spelling mistake. We're meant to be like pitching this game. and you've misspelt a basic English
Listen.
word.
I know. You didn't let it go.
Like-
We were talking about assault rifles the entire time.
Oh.
Oh man, those World War One riffles.
Yes.
One more story.
To add to the Great War.
What? Oh my god, man! There are so many stories we have. I think. What about the first time I met you two when I came back after deferring?
So Shabba, this was the first fucking. I'm gonna tell this because I'm pretty sure. I was the first guy you did this to.
Yeah, I think you
Okay,
were.
so I came in. We met in like Alright, so the college was like a bit weird. So the main campus was like in this above the dog park. So we all met up in the parking lot, and we're essentially going to the new campus, which was in a nicer building. And I get there, and this guy comes up to me who I did not know. He went, "Oh, hey man, like how'd you do on your science? You remember me?" And I went, "I have no idea who you are." And he just went, "Ah, fuck, it didn't work."
But it did work.
And then I was just like,
in the end.
I was just like, hey man, I'm Shabs. I'm gonna be in your class.
You
like
didn't
the
try
third
to
last
keep it
year,
up.
whatever.
You didn't try to fuck with me afterwards. I was like, "Ah, it didn't work. Oh well, I'm sure
No,
about it."
yeah, no, but there were some people who like were genuinely like, yeah, man,
The
how
next
you been?
fucking
Blah, blah.
guy you did it to, he went, "Oh, could you point someone
Oh
else
my
out in the
God.
stream?" And I pointed to a guy, and you went over there, and he fucking was talking to you like he knew you. I was just like,
Yeah.
"What's wrong with him?"
And after like 5 minutes of talking, I'm like, you have no idea who I am, do you? And they're like, I'm so sorry, no. What was your name again? And like, I'm just like, yeah, no, dude, I wasn't here last year. I'm fucking with you.
Oh.
I'm like, but I will be in your class. And they're like, oh, hey, what's up?
And we've been friends ever since.
Oh yes.
I think like if I'm fucking with you, that is just like I guess a symbol of friendship. I do so much shit to my mates. Dead
We
set.
literally sat under the stairs for the rest of the year.
Oh yes. We were stairs goblins, my dude.
Oh yeah, there's the stairs that went to the
photo.
roof. We sat like right underneath them. But that was a fun stories for another time.
I have a story on my end as well. This
Man,
story
what
is
what's
an interquel
What did I
between
do?
between Charbel's loophole incident and the Fuck You 69 incident.
loophole incident.
Fucking the one I know what he's talking about. Go ahead.
The economies. So this one is one I like to call Galaxy Horizon 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Calm down.
Oh god.
We're gonna need everyone to calm down.
So this game was a sequel to the aforementioned Galaxy Horizon, which I made in the first year.
The critically acclaimed sequel.
Oh yes. So just to put it short about what Galaxy Horizon is, the first one, or the franchise, quote unquote franchise as a whole.
Oh my god.
It's an endless runner bullet hell game, or I wouldn't even call it a bullet hell game. It's just a freaking shoot 'em.
It's
Twin
just a
stick
shoot 'em
shoot
up.
Oh, it's a shoot 'em up. Yeah, it's a shmup.
I like how you crush yourself. It's just a shoot 'em up.
No, Galaxy Horizon 2 is much more than just a shoot 'em up. But Galaxy
Oh, yes.
Horizon was definitely a shoot 'em up.
It got insane, but this sequel, I added a lot more to it. So the first game you can only shoot in one direction, but in the sequel it's more of a vertical type of game, and you can shoot forwards and backwards. So
Groundbreaking new mechanics.
yes, groundbreaking new mechanics. But Galaxy Horizon also has a bit of a twist. It's a parody game, where it's basically just you're just shooting anime girls coming at you, who just go yeah.
I don't think you've illustrated just how much you did. He downloaded a chibi model off the internet of like an anime
Yes.
girl with pink hair, and every time one spawned, it went hi,
No,
and
my
it spawned. I'm gonna say 100 at a time.
Oh yes, and that's just
No,
getting to the
I-
meat of it. Sorry.
No, you know, my favorite thing about that game is he created the second mode where he
Rave
downloaded an 8-bit he downloaded an 8-bit version of Don't Stop Me Now by Queen, and he synced up the enemies spawning to the music.
I don't know. I've never seen anyone play this game and not immediately have a good time. Having
Oh,
a
yeah.
good time.
Dude,
Don't stop me.
Lee tweeted about it.
Yeah, he just
Like,
fucking
I'll
tweeted.
send you this picture and you have to put it up.
Yeah, fine, I'll put it up. But Lee fucking tweeted about this fucking game. We brought it back during Major just because it's so ridiculous. And by the way, Galaxy Horizon 3 coming out in 2021.
Oh,
That's
we
a
have
reasonable.
to make it now.
Yeah, now
we
you
have to make
it.
it.
Amp. It's gonna be a Star Fox clone. It just keeps gaining dimensions.
I can't let you do that, Animu.
I can't let you do that, Animu.
Like, seriously, like, everyone, like, that started playing it just had to, like, they started really competing with it. Like, they really tried to get the highest score. Like, there wasn't any way to, like, get that, put it into the game, like, get your highest score up there. It was just like, yeah, your score's up there, you died, whatever. But, like, yeah, people, like, other students, like, fellow peer students, they went around, they played
Hello,
the game.
fellow students.
Yeah, our fellow students, yeah. They just started, like, competing. They tried to get as far as we can, but, like, the time, with Mosh Pit mode, or the whole synced up to Don't Stop Me Now, yeah, they came in, like, all I can say is they covered the screen, and lucky that you have a rapid fire option for that mode. And a lot of people got pretty fucked up.
It was so weird. It killed everyone immediately. It just took them off.
Oh yeah, they didn't expect it, and some people actually did, like, sing along to it as soon as they knew what the song was.
Yeah. But that has been Galaxy Horizon 2. And this has been the Safe File podcast. Joining me today has been Big Mac.
I hate that name. No, I actually fucking love it, but I'm keen. I like
you got to
that.
main Little Mac now, just to fuck with me.
Oh, Lil Mac.
You know his final smash, he turns into like a giant grotesque Hulk-like creature and punches you?
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm gonna main him in Smash most likely.
And of course it has been the Master of the Universe, Amp.
Hey, what up?
And I am still Josh, and we'll see you next time. Signing off.
Signing off.
Signing off.